Okay, good morning and welcome back to our microprocessor and IoT class. This is, I believe, our class number 9. So today we're going to discuss about the sensor and also actuator. Sensor is like we already discussed earlier last week actually, based on the ITU-T standard for the IoT. We describe about there is a physical thing and there is something that we call IoT device. Physical thing is the something that going to represent value from the information world to be something that will be measurable. For example, I'm not sure about what is the temperature in this room. Is it hot, cold, or maybe warm? So to make it more measurable, we're going to measure that temperature and return a specific value based on that temperature. So after that, we can discuss about whether this is hot or cold. For example, based on our measurement from the report from the physical thing, the temperature for this room is 20 degrees Celsius. So that means it's a little bit cold for myself. So that physical thing, in real world, we call it sensor because the purpose of sensor is to sense the value in the information world and return a specific value that will be measurable. They will be quantifiable. So there will be a value based on that sense. Maybe 20 degrees of Celsius, maybe 25 degrees of Celsius, or maybe 30 degrees of Celsius. That's the purpose of sensor. But on the contrary, for the actuator, we're going to use actuator to do some control. For example, I want to lock the door. That means I'm going to use a machine, a motor, that's going to lock the door. Or, for another example, I need to give food to my fish in the tank, in the aquarium. So that means I'm going to use actuator because actuator is the one who's supposed to do movement to give the food to the fish. That's what you call actuator. So today we're going to discuss about how to use sensor and also actuator using Tinkercad. Okay. And for the guidance, we're going to discuss about specific sensor, including the photoresistor. This is the sensor that going to represent a value based on the how bright is the room today. That's what we call photoresistor. And then we also going to use the temperature sensor. And then we also discuss about how to use the peer sensor and also ultrasonic distance sensor. Okay, so let's move on to our learning curve. So we're going to use photoresistor, ultrasonic distance sensor, peer, and also the temperature sensor. And then after that, we're going to discuss about how to use actuator using DC motor and micro servo. Okay. Let's open our Tinkercad. Okay, let's just try to build it from zero. Okay, I'm going to build the circuit inside the class. then this is our class. So we haven't create our class. 23 of January 2022. Okay. Okay, sorry. So let's create our new class. Classroom name is microprocessor and IoT for Internet Communication 43 and IoT. This is for college, and then the subject is okay. So this is the class code. Okay, so just copy the link, and then I'm going to share it with you using our WhatsApp. Okay. Now, after this, you need to create your own account in the Tinkercad, but I believe you already have the Tinkercad account, and then join this class. Okay. So go to your class, enter nickname, and then okay, back to the class. This is our class, and then I'm going to create activity in here. Sensor and actuator. This is class number 9. Okay, I'm going to create a new circuit. Oh, sorry, add that in here, circuit. Now, I need the Arduino. This is our Arduino. And then I'm going to need the sensor. Photoresistor. This is and then then I'm going to need to connect this one. Terminal 1 to, let's say, 5 volt. Right. And then this one is to the ground. But we need to measure what is the resistance, because photoresistor is actually a resistor, but its resistance value will be varying based on the how many photon or how bright is the room is. So need something as a voltage divider. Okay, so this is for the ground. And then I'm going to measure what is the voltage in this position. Let's put it into A0. Okay, so basically this circuit will work something like this. So we have something that we call photoresistor. This is the photoresistor. And then this is the regular resistor. And then this is ground. And then this is 5 volt. Now, remember about the Ohm law. The voltage in here will be equal to, let's say this one is R1, and then this one is R2, is R1 divided by R1 plus R2, or the total of resistor, times 5 volt. So that will be the value of voltage in this node. And we're going to measure how much is the volt in that node, in that point. Okay. Now, so we have this one is R1, this is R2. And then we're going to measure what is the voltage in this node. So I'm going to use not block, but text only. And then we don't need this one. We're going to print out the value of A0 for the ADC, analog digital converter, to the serial monitor. So we're going to use serial begin. This, and then I'm going to print out serial dot print line the value of the voltage A0. So if we want to, what is the voltage in A0? We're going to use analog read because A0 is analog, and we're going to read the value in this voltage in this node. Okay, so analog read A0. That's it. So we just need to read what is the voltage in A0 and then print it out to the serial monitor. Okay, let's try to start. It said 6. Now let's try to modify the brightness of the room. Right now it said that it's very dark. Let's move now. So it become 301. So a little bit not very dark, but still dark. Now how about now? It's 526. That will be interesting because it will be maybe this is in the morning or in the afternoon. How about right now? Oh, it's 679. So now we can make sure that when the brightness is when the brightness in the room is very bright, then it will return a value of 679. And then when it is very dark, the value is 6. Okay, this is how we use the photoresistor, the analog photoresistor. So now we can see that if the A0 return value of 6, then it can say that it is very dark. So let's try to enhance our program. Okay, then let's say if A is less than 100, then we can print out to the serial monitor it's still dark. Else, okay, I forgot how to use there's the syntax. Okay, this one. Okay, it says that else for if. Okay, so we're going to else if A less than, let's say, okay, it just else it's 200, else it's too bright. Okay, so instead of printing out the value of A, now we're going to print out whether it is still dark or too bright. Okay, there is something wrong here. Before else. Okay. Okay, it said that it's still dark, but now it's too bright. Still too bright. Still too bright. It's still dark. But that's how we use the photoresistor, either by using printing out the value of A or by printing out a more sensible or human readable words, like for example, too bright or still dark, etc. Okay, now let's move on to another sensor, which is ultrasonic distance sensor. Okay, let's try to find a program. It has the ultrasonic distance sensor. Okay, where is it? No, 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 no. Nope. Let's try the second page. No, no, no. Okay, still loading. Okay, this one. Let's try to add to the class activity. Design, and also this one for the peer sensor. And then also the DC motor. Okay, where is the DC motor? Okay, this one. Okay, still loading. Okay, not on this one. Let's go back to our first page. I'm trying to find out the motor DC and motor servo. Ah, this one. Playing with motor. Okay. Now let's move to our class. Oh, Alpha is already joined. Thank you, John. Activities and then okay. Now let's try to discuss about the ultrasonic distance sensor. Okay, ultrasonic distance sensor and also the counterpart, the passive infrared sensor, is two devices that can measure whether there is something in front of the sensor or not. But the difference is ultrasonic distance sensor, just like its name, it can measure the distance between the sensor to the object. If the object is moving, then it can also detect the movement. But in PIR or passive infrared sensor, it cannot measure the distance between the sensor and the object, but it can measure or it can detect a movement or motion. Also, if there is something moving in front of the object, then it can detect. That's the main difference between ultrasonic distance sensor and the passive infrared sensor. So in ultrasonic distance sensor, it measures the distance, but in PIR or passive infrared sensor, it can measure motion or movement. Okay, so now let's talk about the ultrasonic distance sensor. This is the connection. We just need to capture the data from the generator. But how it works? Actually, there are two speaker, a special speaker. Why it's special? Because it can only transmit very high frequency, so our ear cannot detect that sound because it's actually around 56 kilohertz. It's beyond the capability of human's ear. So once one of the speaker transmit that high frequency, and then if there is an object in front of the sensor, that sound will be reflected back to the second sensor. So this one will send ultrasonic voice, and then it will be reflected by an object, and then reflected back by the object to the second sensor. And based on the time difference between when it is transmitting the ultrasonic voice to the when is the sound is received by the other sensor, then it can measure the distance. So it's something like this. Okay. So we have, this is the sensor. This is the ultrasonic speaker, or we call it ultrasonic transducer. First, it will send, if there is an object here, it will send a high frequency, and then one of the beam from the ultrasonic frequency will be reflected to here. And then based on the time difference between the time of I'm sending the signal and then the time of I'm receiving the signal, I can measure the distance from the sensor to the object. Remember, S is equal to V times T. This is how the ultrasonic distance sensor works. Okay, so now let's try to tinker this circuit, and this is the code. It will print out to the serial monitor the distance between the sensor to the object. So there is a calibration in here. Whatever the value returned by the ultrasonic distance sensor, it must be multiplied by 0.01723 to get the centimeter. Okay. Let's start the simulation. And try to examine the serial monitor. Is say that 28 centimeter. There is an object 28 centimeter in front of the sensor here. This is the object. Let's try to move the object to here. It says now the object is 212 centimeter. How about now? It's 276 centimeter. How about now? Oh, it's out of range. But the last time the object is measured by the ultrasonic distance sensor is 336 centimeter. How about now? 24 centimeter, 26. How about now? 336 centimeters. So it's out of range. So can we detect movement or motion using ultrasonic sensor? Yes, of course. But you need to first remember there is an object 1 meter in front of me, and then now it's 113. So the object is moving. That's how we detect motion or movement using ultrasonic distance sensor. Okay. Now you can try it out by yourself. Now let's try the second sensor, which is the PIR sensor, passive infrared sensor. This is the passive infrared sensor. Okay, now, so how does the passive infrared sensor works? It's just sending, just like the ultrasonic distance sensor, but in here there is only one sensor. It will send beam or infrared beam to its surrounding, and then if there is an object in here, and then if that object is moving, then it can detect the movement. Now let's test our circuit, and this is our code. Actually, it's already applied circuit. It's something like for the home security. If there is something that approaching this sensor, then you need to set the something like password, but in this is only 1, 0, 1 and 0. If you didn't put the correct combination for the switch, then it will turn on the speaker. Okay. Let's try it out. But in here, we don't have the serial monitor. Okay, there is an object in here. Is it moving? No. Yes, it's moving. But it will send the speaker to be on. Moving again, on, etc. Okay. Now, what is the difference between, now let's make a conclusion. What is the difference between ultrasonic distance sensor, and the passive infrared sensor? The first one is functionality. Distance sensor can measure the distance, but passive infrared cannot measure the distance. It can only measure the motion or movement. But can we use ultrasonic distance sensor to detect motion? Yes. So this is also to detect motion. Now, how about range? Ultrasonic distance sensor can only measure up to 3 meters. But for the passive radar sensor, it can measure approximately around 12 meters. So that's the main difference between ultra distance sensor and passive infrared sensor. Okay. Also for the price is a little bit different. Now let's move on to our next discussion, which is the temperature. Is actually very simple. You can try it by yourself. Now we can try to use the actuator, DC motor and micro servo. This is the motor. Now, what is different? First, what is different between DC motor and servo motor? Based on the code, you can see that we need to only set up the pin mode number 2, this one, for output. So we're going to send something to here, but actually there is also the pin mode for output. Now, first, I'm going to send 5 volt to pin number 2. So pin number 2 will be high voltage. That will make the DC motor to turn on. It also will be rotate. And after that, I'm going to send high voltage to pin number 4. Pin number 4 is connected to the motor servo. It will send high and then it will send low. Okay, let's try that. Start simulation. First, it will rotate and then rotate, move, rotate, move. Oh, why is the DC motor is still rotating? That's because we send high voltage to pin number 2 and never set the pin number 2 to low. So that means all of this time, all of this looping, pin number 2 will stay high. But the motor servo is working something like this. So that's the main difference between DC motor and also motor servo. In DC motor, we just need to give power to DC motor and it will turning. However, for the motor servo, we need to give pulse to make it turn. And the motor servo is only turn for specific degree. For example, maybe 10 degrees, 5 or 10 degrees. Something like this. So we need to send pulse. That's the reason why we send high and then low, and then high and then low. Because if we send only high, let's try it out. Okay, it's turning, but the motor servo is not turning. Why? Because it needs a pulse. Pulse means high and then low, high and then low. But because it is stays high, then it will remain unmoved, unturned. Okay, so that's why we need high and then low and then high and then low to create a pulse. Okay. Now, any questions so far? Okay, if not, then you can try it out by yourself and then try to build your own sensor by using a temperature sensor. There is a temperature sensor in here. Yeah, temperature sensor TMP36. Okay. or you can just try to find a specific circuit from my design. It's using the TMP36. Not this one. Okay, I don't have it. Not this one. So you need to do it by yourself, just for practice. Okay, okay, then that's it for today. Don't forget to do the daily quiz for class number 9. Quiz number 9, Sensor and Actuator. And then the due date is tonight. No reattempt, only one attempt allowed. The time limit is 10 minutes and the due date is tonight. Oh, it's still 11 p.m. I'm going to. Okay, it's supposed to be 23:59. Okay, thank you for coming and I'll see you next week then. Thank you.